He thought he wasn't going to get called up. It's Adrian Fortino.
Going shopping with brothers together, making vows to leave each other never. It was a waste of time.
A little bit higher, a little bit higher. Right. So my great-grandfather immigrated here from Italy many years ago. And when he got here, he started a business. And then my grandfather started a business. And then my dad ran his business. So invariably, I was born to be an entrepreneur. That's why I'm here. But I thought it would be appropriate to go and get some real kind of professional experience. So I went and joined this company called Ricardo after I got out of college. And it's a global, publicly traded automotive service firm. It was fantastic. It was a great company. I had a great ascension there. By 29, I was managing 35 people, six-figure salary. It was fantastic, enviable. And yet I was not remotely fulfilled. In fact, I felt like this, astronaut, in space with this oxygen line that was leaking, and I just was suffocating every day more and more. And if I didn't take some level of drastic action, I'd be lost. And so I did. I found this company in Ann Arbor, this Boom Dash. And, they really interesting company. I like them, and they actually liked me so much that they offered me a job for a 75% pay cut. So I was like, sure, let's do. Yeah, it sounds good. Right? So I took it, and I started, and it was great. And I was a startup. I was in a startup, and I was learning. And my boss, just a few weeks in, he says, hey, do you want to go ahead and get a coffee across the street? I said, yeah, let's go across the street and get a coffee. Get across the street, sit down. He said, hey, how do you think it's going? And I say, well, I think it's going fine. I think, it's going pretty well. And he's like, I don't. I don't think it's going well at all. In fact, you got this big company hangover. You're worried about what everybody else is doing, your titles and meetings, and you're not focused on actually your job and producing something here. And I kind of, was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, you don't understand. The way you're acting, this sort of corporate mentality doesn't work here. So you need to go this weekend and think about how you're going to fit, because if this is going to be it, come Monday, you're not going to be here. So, that was a bit unexpected, considering I was expecting a raise in that conversation after the 25. So, and actually, it was devastating, right? It was the most devastating conversation I've ever had to that point in my life. I go home and I tell my wife about it, and I tell her about it, and I begin to break down. And now I've got tears streaming down my face, and I tell her how I've destroyed our family. I've ruined everything. I've ruined every sort of, kind of opportunity for us, and I'm so sorry. I'm so, so sorry. And I say, I'm just going to go back to Ricardo. I'll go and try to get my job back, and this little stupid experiment will be over. And she said, no. She said, you have to give it more time, or else you will never forgive yourself. And I said, okay, you're probably right. Started to think about, too, what my boss was saying, and he said, he was right. Right? I had this sort of corporate mentality, this kind of skin that I had to start, ripping away so that I could actually become a more productive and a real kind of person, someone who could actually fit and be useful in an entrepreneurial endeavor. So I came back and I did do that. I ripped it away. It took me several weeks, and it was actually very painful. But I really, truly bought in. So much so that actually several weeks down the road now, my old boss's boss from Ricardo calls me and said, hey, your boss, I'd like to actually offer you your boss's job back at Ricardo for $50,000 more than you were making when you were there. And I said, no, thank you. flat, right there. Didn't think about it. And at that point, I knew finally that I was actually able to walk the wire without a net. I felt like I was actually reclaimed my birthright as an entrepreneur in that instant. And I felt good. And I felt committed. And I continue to feel committed, so much so that I went another few months actually without salary at Boom Dash while we were still trying to get it and save it and build it. And despite all those efforts, it failed miserably. And that's okay. Because I took so much from that experience that I've gone off and started a few other software companies that have been very successful. And I actually also found kind of where my best place is in this community, in this culture. And that is to be on the creative, to be creating things, be creating companies and products and building them from nothing. And that's what I love. Like, I am not an artist. I am not a musician. I will not sing. But I like creating companies. It's what I get up for every morning. It's what I do. It's what I will always do until I die. Thank you.
Thank you, Adrian. Good to see you. Adrian was a client. I know Adrian from work. What? And he won't sing, but he will be in really weird videos if you ask him to.